Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the Edit Place, and today is something a little bit differently because it's not directly editing, but it is extremely important, and that is how to back up your data. Now, there are a ton of ways to do this, and so I want to kind of go through my setup because I think I'm kind of in between what a really basic kind of the everyday person would do in terms of a backup, and as well as a much bigger business with a lot more expensive and advanced solutions. So hopefully you can get some tips and tricks in here, and I'll try to talk about both the lower levels and the higher levels of backups, but nonetheless, stick around if you don't want to lose any of your data like I did years ago. All right, so let's talk backups. Now, to begin, yes, there are the built-in kind of standard backup systems that companies and their devices come with. So if you're on a Mac or an iPhone, you're working with iCloud. If you're on Windows, you probably have OneDrive, maybe use Dropbox or Google Drive. They're all basically the same. For the everyday person, these solutions are a great starting point. The only thing to keep in mind, I would say, is something called redundancy. You see, right now, this folder is on my desktop, but it's also syncing to throughout my iCloud account. So if I go on my iPhone or iPad, I can see this folder. But if I were to delete this and then permanently delete it from my trash, now it's going to unsync off of my other devices as well, and it will disappear forever. This is a common mistake for photos. People will think, oh, my photos have synced to my phone, so I can delete it off my computer. Well, if you're using iCloud for photos or the Microsoft or Android equivalent, just know that when you delete it, it's going to delete in all locations. Usually it throws up a warning, but I just want to reiterate that. Now, I use a multi-step process where I have both backups locally and in the cloud. If you don't know what locally is, that just simply means something physical. So this 𝗚𝗚𝗨𝗙𝗥, it's a hard drive that's directly plugged into my computer right now. That is a physical local drive. I cannot access this through any sort of cloud server as of right now. Something like Dropbox, that is going to be a cloud storage. Now, before I showed you my Drobo that was on my desk, and this is what that software looks like. This is my Drobo dashboard. I can open it up, and you can see that basically it's a big tin can filled with a bunch of different hard drives. Now, if I open up my Finder, the computer only sees one drive. That's my initial focus server. So this houses everything. All of this data is split amongst all of these drives. Now, the reason you would want a RAID system is for a failsafe. You see, remember this right here, my memory card with all my footage on it? If this were to fail, break, water damage, whatever you want, I now lose all of this footage. Whereas in a RAID system, if one of these drives, I can also turn on dual risk redundancy for 2 drive failures, but if one of these drive fails, I don't lose a single file. All I do is pop in a new drive to replace it, and it will recreate the data onto that drive. Again, it does this by creating little copies of data spread out amongst all of these drives. Now, there's a bunch of different types of RAIDs, striped, mirrored. Literally, you could watch an entire documentary on RAID systems. They can get very complicated, but for the sake of this video, just know that they can help with redundancy, so that way, if you accidentally delete a file or if a hard drive fails, there's still a possibility of getting it back. Now, you may be thinking, cool, once I get a RAID system, I can stop there. Not really. By the way, a RAID system is any drive that is 2 or more, so you don't need all these drives. You can literally start with 2 hard drives, plug it into your Mac, and go into Disk Utility and RAID them. It's a quick YouTube video away. If you guys want to see that, let me know down in the comments, but it's pretty easy to set up. You don't need this whole, Drobo and crazy setup. Now, a recent kind of addition to my workflow, especially for you video editors out there, is you want a drive that is fast, because fast drive means better playback times in your video editor. And these traditional hard drives that are in here, while they do pretty decent, when I'm playing back and trying to edit 6K raw files, not so much. And the SSD in here is nice for kind of a optimizer, but it looks for commonly used files and programs. So new footage that you just imported isn't really going to be optimized on the SSD inside the Drobo. So I added a 2 terabyte NVMe drive. Now with this, I only have one drive in there. So again, if that drive were to fail, I would lose all this data, except I won't. And that's because of Backblaze. Now Backblaze is an awesome utility. It's also highly inexpensive as far as normal backup software goes, and you probably haven't heard of it. You see, iCloud, Google Drive, all those have kind of very pretty interfaces and very nice setups. And while they're incredibly useful, they also can cost quite a bit. Backblaze will back up any amount of data for, I believe the base model is $6 a month. So that's right. The near 50 terabytes or whatever I have in here is being backed up constantly for about $6 to $8 a month. So Backblaze isn't meant to be accessed constantly like those other cloud services I just mentioned. It's basically if you accidentally delete something or if there's a catastrophic hard drive failure and you need to recover your data. So this is what it looks like if you log into Backblaze. They do have a mobile app. It's a little clunky, but it gets the job done. So down here, I can see all my different drives that back up to it, my internal hard drive, the server, which is basically a copy of the Drobo, because again, while the RAID is awesome in case one of the hard drives fail, if the Drobo has a catastrophic failure, fire, water, stolen, anything like that, I still have a cloud-based option. So I can see all of my stuff in here. I can see all my project files, and I can go in and basically download or recover one drive, multiple drives, or files. I mean, up here at the top, I can either download it. Probably not going to download 50 terabytes worth, but I can order a hard drive. And what's nice is you can get $189 for 8 terabytes. But if you send the drive back, then you'll get a refund. So it's actually free. So really, really important to have Backblaze in addition to local redundancy. Now, a nice thing about Backblaze is in the settings, you can see what drives are there. You can turn on the specific drives you want it to back up, and then it's going to back it up in real time. Basically, as soon as you add in folders, I believe it does a index check like every hour or so, and it will go in and just back it up. Or if you just added a bunch of stuff, you can force a backup as well. And you'll be able to easily see in this menu how many files are left to sync, if any. So right now I can see everything's up to date. So there you guys have it. Hopefully you feel a little bit better about securing your data. And if I can save one person from not having to lose out on important documents or memories, then this entire video and honestly my entire channel and everything will be worth it. So thanks so much. If you got anything out of it, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next 𝗦𝗚𝗙𝗙 video.